Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Pregame Show, and it is opening day.
We're here! I'm sorry, I just wanted to yell it, man.
Points bet.
But also, God, it's opening day.
Yeah.
It is opening day, man. This is awesome.
Make sure you sign up with PointsBet. You get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's Cody Delmendo. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. Opening day, the Cubs and Brewers opening the Major League schedule for 2022 out at Wrigley Field. I will say, Cody, I'm very happy in this nice warm studio where we're doing the show. I purposely wore this sweatshirt today because it's one that every Cubs fan out there owns. It's when you go to Wrigley Field at some point, no matter how many times you've been there, and you think it's going to be warmer than it is.
Right.
The wind comes off the lake, you freeze your butt off, and you got to go buy a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is the one right here.
It's happened a few times to me, but my girlfriend is notorious for this because she gets cold so easy. She's so small, but she'll wear like 3 or 4 layers, but then we'll still get insanely cold either way. So she'll go buy a blanket or another hoodie or something.
It doesn't matter how small you are. Sooner or later, Wrigley Field will freeze you to the bone.
Right.
That's just the way it works. And I will say, if it happens to you today, it's happening to everybody, no matter, unless you're wearing one of those like Carhartt snowsuits or something.
Yeah.
If you're dressed like a normal human being, you're going to be cold today. Just accept the fact that it's opening day. You got to bring the
blanket. I feel like bringing the blanket is key.
Yeah, the flask.
The flask.
Lawrence says bring the flask.
Yes.
All right, so we got some people joining in already. Craig says opening day, go Cubs. Britt's in. Kyle, let's go Cubs. Base Bear, very first opening day. Now that's cool to see somebody's first opening day.
I've never technically been to opening day.
Really?
Nah, never done it.
Well, it's a tough ticket to get, first of all, you know?
Maybe not so much
not
this year.
Yeah, not this year.
Not this year as much.
Well, a little bit easier this year.
But, no, I've never been to opening day. I've been to plenty of games like the first week or, in April or whatever, but I've never actually been to opening day.
Well, it sounds like the weather's going to be better by Sunday, like a lot better by Sunday, but this first scheduled 3 games are going to be difficult against the Brewers. Britt says, happy opening day. Kyle, let's go Cubs. Going to be a good season. Austin, very optimistic. Mike Dubbs in the house. You're never late, Mike Dubbs.
He's never late. Rachel,
Happy
London's ready
day.
For some Cubs baseball.
I think we got a pretty
Scott
good group
from
coming
Iowa. We're friends on Twitter. He says, let's fucking go. # go Cubs go.
Kyle says, do I take the Corbin Burnes over 8.5 strikeouts, Cody? LOL. Hedge my emotions.
No, I love the under. I love the under on Burnes strikeouts today, and it's because of stuff we've been talking about all spring training on how starting pitchers are going to be less used in the first month of the year.
Yeah, 8.5 strikeouts he'd have to get him pretty early because I don't imagine starters are going, especially in weather like this. I doubt they're going like 7, 8 innings.
I suspect 5 innings tops for Corbin Burnes, and
probably for Hendricks too.
Yeah, and the thing is, another thing outside of that is, we've talked about it enough. This is a contact-heavy Cubs lineup. I don't think it's going to be as easy as it's been for him to get strikeouts against the Cubs. Again, reigning in Cy Young winner. I get it, but I think the Cubs are at least going to put the bat on the ball today. We'll see if their defense can back them up.
All right, let's take a look at the Cubs lineup. They put it out. We had some predictions throughout the week, what we thought it would be, and there it is, presented by the Cubs. Rafael Ortega, DH. Hey, DH at Wrigley Field, and he's the first guy to come up in the lineup in 2022. Very cool.
Yep.
Nick Madrigal, as we expected, at second base. Wilson Contreras made it all the way to opening day. Still a Cub. Willie is batting third. Ian Happ, ready to go. He's feeling better. He will bat cleanup and play left field. Frank the Tank over at first, and then Seiya Suzuki, sixth in the lineup, playing right field to make his Chicago Cubs and Major League debut in opening day. Jason Hayward, the veteran, of course, we kind of suspected this, and the one thing you got wrong in your prediction for
the lineup
was Jason Hayward, and I kind of said that my opinion was there's no way they're not going to play Jason Hayward on opening day.
Yeah.
That's just a nod to the veteran and a leader in the clubhouse. So to me, the 2 leaders on the team, 3 leaders, you have Contreras, you have Jason Hayward, and you have Ian Happ. Those are the 3, and Kyle Hendricks are probably the 4 guys.
Right.
Wisdom at third, Horner at short, and then Kyle Hendricks getting the nod on opening day, which I think is cool. Marcus Stroman said right away, give the ball to Hendricks, and we'll see if he can bounce back. But what do you make of the lineup? Are you happy with it?
I'm content with it. Also in my projected lineup, I had Nick Madrigal batting 8th or 9th, one of those two, and that was only because I liked his presence. Say you get to the 3rd inning, him at the bottom of the lineup to kind of set the tone for when you go to the top of the lineup with Ortega or whoever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it is what it is. I think Madrigal second is just as beneficial as if he was batting at the bottom. So overall, I like it. I'm not feeling good about Patrick Wisdom today against Corbin Burnes unless he really does adjust, make some offseason adjustments like we've talked about with the strikeouts. It's one of those, like, we're going to see if it works out or not. Because I think I had VR in my lineup as well. But no, I mean, other than Hayward, which again, I get it, it's a veteran thing, but it's been a very popular thing talked about on Cubs Twitter and just Cubs fandom in general is like, are we going to give Hermosillo a chance? Are we going to give, all these other young guys a chance because this is what this year is supposed to be, right? Like, we're trying to find out who's part of the next Cubs team. And, I love Jason Hayward's great dude, great guy to represent your team and all that stuff. We've talked about it at ends. But it is what it is. Again, it is just opening day.
It's just today.
And, I mean, I guess matchup-wise, it's not terrible. I mean, he's a left-handed hitter, and they're going to mainly use him against right-handed pitchers anyway. So, in a way, I get it. I just, I'm just hoping that he gets back to 2019, 2020 form. And that's not going to make fans think that he's living out the contract or anything. It's more of just like being a productive player because he just was not productive last year. And all injuries were a big part of that.
You see there are a couple bets on there. I saw Mike Dubbs taking the over on Hendricks strikeouts. Mm-hmm. And then you see the yin and the yang, the highs and lows of Cubs fans as you go into a season. Rachel's like, Hap's going to homer in his first at bat. She's excited. Niren is like, it's a meh lineup. He doesn't like Wisdom in there with the high strikeout percentage against Burnes. Right. I will say this. A lot of guys are going to strike out against Burnes most likely. But remember, baseball is the weirdest of all sports.
Yeah.
And just because Corbin Burnes won the Cy Young last year doesn't mean he can't go out and lay an egg on a cold opening day against a Cubs lineup with some guys that maybe he's not, used to seeing as often as he has in the past.
The thing that, honestly, this scares me more than Corbin Burnes today is the wind blowing out to dead center at like 13 to 15 miles per hour.
I saw Tracy Butler from Channel 7 say 25 to 35 mile an hour gusts.
Yeah. It's windy out there.
So there is a chance you could see home runs blown out to left field. But again, it's also really cold and damp out there. So the ball's not going to carry like it's July out there.
Right.
Guys are going to squeeze that bat as hard as they can today because you hit one up. Little league around here, you hit one off the end and your hand hurts for the next hour.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was terrible. So we talk about the lineup, and part of the deal is you have 3 guys that went to the IL to start the season, Mills, Miley, and Simmons. That opened up a few roster spots as well. And Rivas, Frazier, Hermosillo all making the 28-man roster right now. Listen, I think everybody wanted to see Hermosillo. He had a monster home run in spring training. Like, he's got potential to show what he can do. We talked about Frazier with Dan Plesac yesterday. The ceiling is very high. It's a guy with a real high ceiling, and there's very little risk there. He's not playing or he's not starting in the lineup today, but wouldn't be surprised to see him pinch hitting at some point in the game.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting tomorrow.
And Rivas is another guy that I know you were pushing for making this roster because of what you think he potentially brings to the team.
I wanted him to start in the opening day lineup just because left-handed bat, and he gives, not only does he have a little bit of power, but he also makes contact, and he can play first base. So, I thought Schwindel would be a good DH today with Rivas at first and then Ortega out in center, and that removes Hayward. But, again, Rivas also he could be an underrated piece on this roster this year coming off the bench. Like, that's probably what he's better suited for.
Right.
I liked him as far as matchup today, but for season long, he's definitely going to be a solid piece off the bench, whether it's playing corner outfield or playing first base.
Rachel's pointing out that Hayward has good stats against Burnes. So not only, not only is it the veteran.
I didn't look into that at all.
I didn't either. A veteran nod, but he's also been good against Burnes. So, all right.
Yeah.
And whatever you can take against him, go for it.
Yeah.
Somebody's pointing out, who is that saying 71 and no wind inside Miller Park. Yeah, we know, and then Scott points out, no, it's Wrigley North. Get it right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's Lawrence who said that. The Dash Law.
Dash Law said it?
That's Lawrence.
Oh, that's Lawrence.
Making comments about Wrigley
From
North.
over there? Quit filtering into our feed right now. Stay out of CHGO Cubs business.
You already had your 15 minutes of fame on the Bears show today.
Yeah, that's enough.
On camera.
Still love you, Lawrence.
We love you, Uncle Larry. Hey, listen, it's no easy task to start the season with 4 games against the Brewers. At least they're at Wrigley Field. But remember, they were 4-15 against Milwaukee last season.
Yeah.
If the Cubs are going to have any chance in this division, and I think, are you predicting third place? Is that your preseason prediction? I'm going to say second or third. They're not going to win the division. But I think they have a chance to take second in the division.
We should wait to get to my season prediction.
Okay, we'll wait.
Till we get to the end
We'll
of the
wait,
show.
but I'm just saying, if they're going to have a chance to make a bid for a wild card, whatever it might be this year, they're going to have to play well against the Cardinals and the Brewers. You have to be better than 4-15 against the Brewers.
I agree.
No matter, they have the best pitching without question in the division, in the National League. You got to be better than 4-15 against them. You hope to feast against the Pirates and the Reds this season, but you also have to be better than 4-15 against Milwaukee, and it starts today.
Yeah, no, and it was like clockwork watching the Cubs play the Brewers before the trade deadline last year, because that's when they played most of their games against them, in April and in May. And it was the Brewers starting staff coming in and just striking out all of the entire roster. They would strike out 10-plus guys a game. And I'm optimistic about what this team can do as far as cutting that down going forward, because like we've said, heavy contact bat, I feel good about what this roster can do against this rotation as far as just putting the ball in play. And we've talked about it before. Like, sometimes that's all you need to do. And on a day like today, where, even though the wind's blowing out, it's freezing cold, all that stuff, anything could happen. And
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this lineup where I'm like, put the ball in play. Make contact. Let's not strike out 20 times today. Like, I'm excited to see it. And we saw a little bit of it last year, but I think it's just a good change of pace.
It's all how you look at it. You could look at it last year and look at this. If this was the same team from last year going against this lineup, you'd say, they're rolling it out again. Here's what's going to happen. It didn't work. You know what? You have a ton of wild cards on this team. Anything could happen, especially early in the season when pitchers aren't what they're supposed to be. Rachel again pointing out now that against Burnes, Hayward is batting .429. So
makes sense.
David Ross knows something we didn't know going in, or Rachel knew. So
we got a super chat.
Super chat.
Bear Forever
$5.
14. He says, "Let's go Cubs. I'm ready for baseball. Got my shiny new Cubs hat ready to go. Let's whack the Brew Crew." Yes. Right. Inject that energy straight into my bloodstream.
I just want to know, is anybody on the chat, seriously, has anybody not had to buy something like this at Wrigley Field? I don't care if you're going there in July.
Yeah.
There's those days where the wind turns around off the lake and you're under the stands, you're in the overhang, you're in the shade, and it goes from like 70 and you feel comfortable and you wore shorts and you're like, I'm all right.
Yep.
And then by about the third inning, the wind whips around and it's 40, and you're shivering. That's where this comes from. That's when you have to go buy the sweatshirt.
I feel like you get that vibe or feeling more so in like May, early June.
Yeah, and you're willing to pay whatever they are asking for the shirt or jacket.
Yes.
They could charge $700 for a sweatshirt. You're like, I'm buying a sweatshirt.
So Scott says, Cody smashes a bottle of mayo if the Cubs sweep the Brewers this weekend. Oh, man, people don't forget, man.
Dinger's asking, how was the Wiener Circle this morning? Oh, stand by. All I can say is stand by for that.
That was last night.
Yeah.
Stand by. We got a story about that.
Right. So Kyle Hendricks is the other side of it, going against the Brewers lineup. He had an ERA over 4 last season for the first time in his career. I'd like to see him turn it around. You look at their lineup: Wong, Adames, Yelich, McCutchen. They get some good batters in Lorenzo Cain in center field. Again, the Brewers lineup is fine. It's not the part of their team that beats you and gets you the division. It will be their pitching that leads to a division title if the Brewers are going to get there. So,
yeah,
I'm okay with the lineup. I'm okay with Kyle Hendricks and Stroman and the guys moving forward this week against that lineup. Yeah. It's whether or not you can hit their pitching.
Yeah, when I look at the Brewers lineup, what's honestly, and maybe it's just because I've just been brutally beat up by Colton Wong when he was in St. Louis. But like if he sets the tone, if he gets on base more than once, that's probably good news for the Brewers because he's batting leadoff, but also he's just so annoying. Like he has power, he can spray it to all fields. There was a reason Cubs fans wanted him going into last year when the Cardinals cut him, let him go. So yeah, that's the guy who really scares me. Not necessarily scares me the most, but just like he's the table setter. He's the Lorenzo Cain of 2018 when the Brewers went to the NLCS. That lineup looks a lot different though if Christian Yelich gets back to 2019 form when he was an MVP caliber player. And he just really hasn't been that since 2020.
Right. Ryan Herrera, by the way, getting you all your articles that'll be at allchgo.com. He's nice and warm in the press box. He's nice and warm in the press box for opening day. So we thought, well, how can we get a feel for what it's like near the ballpark? You were out there this morning.
Yes.
We also sent intrepid reporter Corey Friedman out there. And do we have the Corey clip? I have not seen this yet. Corey is going as a fan, section 216, if you want to say hi, by the way.
Yeah.
Hello and happy opening day, CHGO Cubs podcast. Luke, Cody, I know you guys are getting ready to do pregame. Ryan inside the ballpark already, but I am here outside reporting live on the ground from beautiful, historic Wrigley Field. The vibes are good. Wrigleyville's back. Baseball is back. And at least for today, everybody's got the same record. We're here to welcome Seiya Suzuki to Chicago, root for Kyle Hendricks and the Chicago Cubs. It's going to be a great day. Happy opening day, everyone, and go Cubs.
He's also going to try and join. That was sweet, right?
Yeah.
He's going to try and join us on the post-game show, and we had to say, Corey, now this is like a 2-3 beer minimum. We need you lucid by the time the game's over, and we know you're going to need to stay warm in section 216 if you want to say hello again.
Yeah.
But let's keep it to a minimum. We don't need 5 Mai Tais and 6 Bud Lights before you get.
But on the spin zone of that, it might be a little entertaining.
Well, it would definitely go viral potentially.
Yeah.
If intrepid reporter Corey
Speaking
Friedman.
of Mai Tais, I saw Mai Tai guy, if you know, out at the ballpark when I was out there with Casey this morning. So,
Shawman 64 says, feel you, Luke. Late May games where the bleacher bums are sweating and roasting in the sun and you're freezing in the shade.
Yes.
It's it's from people that are not from Chicago or are not Cubs fans are just coming to Wrigley because they want to see what Wrigley's like.
Right.
They find that out way too often. But I'm telling you, every Cubs fan's been through that experience at least once.
Exactly.
We've all been there. Hey, let's take care of PointsBet real quick because we've got some fun stuff we want to get to. We're at 12:50. We're closing in on opening day at Wrigley Field, the 1:20 start at Wrigley, Cubs and Brewers for opening day.
Yeah, and like we were talking earlier, I love Corbin Burnes under 7.5 strikeouts today. And you can do that. Place that bet. Ride with me on PointsBet, which is the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, Live NBA Same-Game Parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And now, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now. If you're at Wrigley right now and you want to take Corbin Burnes under 7.5 strikeouts, you can download the PointsBet app right now. Use code CHGO and register your account all from your phone. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life. With PointsBet.
Oh, we're singing it now. All right.
Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Sorry.
We've got about 5 minutes to do some preseason predictions real quick, and then we have something less wholesome than Corey Friedman's report.
Yeah.
Joey, what do you have for us? Like, do we have the preseason prediction thing where we went and so here's what we're talking about record-wise. Everybody went out. Cody, I
went full homer.
You went straight homer.
I went full homer. That is my thing. That is my thing on the show. That's going to be my thing on the show all year. And I feel like I've been given that vibe all like since we launched.
I mean, I feel like I went pretty homer too at 81 and 81. I think it's a positive outlook.
Yeah.
But I think that's just where they're going to be somewhere. Listen, they're going to be between your 87 and who's low on the 77 for Ryan and 77. I think they're going to be between the 77 and the 87. I think they'll be higher than 77 wins. I really do.
The way that I thought of it is that I don't truly fully believe in Milwaukee long term for this season because I genuinely feel like they're relying way too much on their pitching. And I feel like at some point that is going to come back to haunt you.
And it might be difficult for pitchers
and
this year.
We as Cubs fans, we as Cubs fans have seen an offense that if it doesn't score, you're not going to win games. And
that's true.
The Cubs, we look at Milwaukee and we're like, man, they're really good. Like they just beat up on us all last year. Yeah, with the lineup that we don't even have anymore. Like this is, I understand there's a lot to prove and all this and that.
Right.
And right now, that looks like I took a lot of drugs and said that. But I just feel like the Cubs are going to be more competitive than people really think. I jokingly in my season prediction put the Cubs would win the division, but I feel like more so that they could be one of those 3 wild card spots. I really do.
I think they're one of the teams in baseball where nobody knows what to say.
Exactly.
You know, anybody can say the Blue Jays and the Dodgers and the Astros and the White Sox. All these teams are going to be good. But hey, Southside, they're seeing the injury thing too, like early on.
Yeah,
you know,
Moncada just got put on the IL.
Listen, you never know with baseball. There are teams that you don't expect to have good seasons.
No one thought the Braves were going to win the World Series. No one thought the Braves were going to make the playoffs.
Would I be surprised if the Cubs are third in the division and not in the playoff race? No, I would not. Would I be surprised if the Cubs are in the hunt for a wild card and win 80 games, 81 games? No, I would not. So, I mean, it's just... And let's see what they have in the first month or so.
I figure in Caleb Killian, like, when's he going to come up? Brennan Davis, when's he going to come?
Right.
No
Are they
one
going to
really
trade
knows.
Contreras at the trade deadline? I mean, all those things will...
Again, a lot of things that we don't expect will have to happen for that prediction to actually come through. But no one ever gets their prediction right, so why not go full homer on it?
Are you excited about opening against the Brewers? I've started to become slightly more and more irritated with our little neighbors to the north.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
They got big little brother syndrome up there.
You've got the Packers. You've owned us, whatever you want to say, for a good decade plus. 2 decades. We get it. Yeah. We're giving you football right now. We're working on it.
Their basketball team just won the NBA title.
They won the NBA title, but they didn't win 6 and 8 years. So let's simmer down, everybody in Milwaukee, about your basketball team. You have a good team. Be happy about it.
Yeah.
Talking trash baseball, like last I checked, they haven't won a World Series.
They haven't won one. Even before the Cubs won 16, at least the Cubs could say they had one.
Right? Like, as far as I know, they've never won anything in the history of their franchise.
I have a buddy who works for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he subtly always tells me, he's like, I hate the Brewers.
Oh, really? Yeah. We won't give his name away, but let's just say Milwaukee
hates work, like when they have to work with the Brewers and stuff.
Yeah, let's simmer down a little bit. Scott Crawford says that Cody is lowballing his real prediction, meaning you think it might even be higher than that. Is that?
No, I think 87 wins is about right. I don't know what Scott's talking about. But, I mean, I'd love the Cubs to win 90-plus games. But, I mean, I just think the division is just going to be a toss-up all season. I don't think it's a lock for Milwaukee. And St. Louis, I feel like they have a better outlook than Milwaukee does personally. And the Cubs, we just don't know. And I kind of like being in that spot. No expectations. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Base Bear says Cubs are going to win it all. Now, that might be a little optimistic, but, I
love that energy, though.
What is it, 10,000 to 1 or something like that?
Yeah, you go put $100 down on PointsBet right now, get $10,000 if they win it all. If that happens,
Here's what I think. This is no joke. Like, while that is the most ridiculous bet you could probably make right now, we could get $100 pooled up for everybody here in the building. Everybody get a little cheddar out of it, like if somehow they pulled it off, right?
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of cheddar, I had a char and cheddar dog at Wiener Circle yesterday.
It is delicious. We got to go to the relish room.
Well, we've had this interaction with the Wiener Circle since we started our Sweet and Savory 16 tournament.
Yes.
Wiener Circle made it all the way to the finals against the Vienna Beef Hot Dog. Right. Vienna Beefs are at Wiener Circle. They said, come to the relish room with some colorful language. So we went, we saw it. Now, Corey Friedman gave you the very soft version of what's going on out at Wrigley Field.
I believe we are running the clean version right now. So
we're going to run the clean version.
Right. So
I feel like each version of our trip to the Wiener Circle, I might want to apologize to my mother and father immediately. This is not safe for children, even the clean version. Opening day is here. Where do you get ready for the first game of the season? The one and only Wiener Circle on Clark, where they have a new relish room.
So I'm excited to check it out.
We're going to check it out, and then we'll have pregame, postgame before Thursday and Friday's games, postgame after all the games.
Oh, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Let's go, Pepe Le Pew.
She called him Pepe Le Pew. All right, it's time.
What the fuck? I got to train you bitches today?
Yeah.
Fuckers came with a hot dog.
I know, man.
Who the fuck put the mustard on his dick?
Tell wieners you got to be a wiener.
What am I supposed to do?
Ask that motherfucker what the fuck you want.
What do you want?
What do you want, loser? Let's go.
Hot dog, hot dog, no relish and fries? Yes, sir. Hot dog, no relish and fries.
Wiener's on his way.
Come in here, Luke. Here we go.
Wiener's on the way.
Get in here.
Open the buns.
It's open. Sensual.
I was better at burgers than hot dogs.
I had to suck it on the back.
I don't know if that was quite ready.
CHGO, CHGO, CHGO,
You know what it stands for? Can hot dogs get ordered?
pretty good damn job, y'all. Woo!
CHGO approved.
Yeah. Can we get a bunch of these sent to the office?
We crack the whip around here. That was me.
So apologies to the gentleman I called a loser. It was the hot dog costume that did it.
That was, I tweeted it today when we tweeted that video from the relish room. I was like, I can't wait to tell my future kids about my time in the relish room. That was just incredible stuff at the Wiener Circle.
It was, again, that was the clean version.
Yeah.
That
Shout out to those guys.
The clean version. Thank you to Wiener Circle for having us out there. We did have a good time. The hot dog was out.
The char dog with the cheese, the cheddar with the little onion on top.
We went raw onion, Merck's cheddar, char dog. Maybe they want to send a few over for the game. We might be here a little while today,
Wiener Circle,
right?
if you're watching, feel free to just send some here.
Thank you for checking out the CHGO Cubs pregame show, first of the season, presented by PointsBet. We're going to be back after the game.
After the game.
When it's time to fly the W. We'll see you then.
Cubs in 4, baby.